Okay, I'm going to do a demonstration of a scatter pattern based on this bee motif. Okay, so I could copy and paste it and try and sort of rotate it and scale it, but I'm just going to use a brush instead. And brushes have got certain limitations. You can only use monochrome brushes, so I can't have black and yellow if I want to do this with this technique. But I'm just going to have a black and white bee. So I'm going to go to define brush preset, and that will select everything. If I haven't got anything selected at all, it will select the all the black and white image of it. So if I click on this, and then let's call this B, and click OK. Okay, so now every time I click here, I will get a black and white B. So if I put a new layer, turn this old one off actually. Okay, so depending on the color, I will get different color Bs, but there'll be black and white version of that. So we want to make this a bit more interesting and get some rotation going on. So I'm going to go to my brushes presets here, and I can also get to it in here, the brush settings rather. And this comes up and this lets you select your brushes and lets you select what you do with your brushes. So at the moment, if I click, it's just doing the same thing. Okay, and if I draw, it'll sort of draw using that brush as if it was a type of stencil. But I'm going to make the size different. So I'm just going to make it white so you can see what happens. So each time I click now, it will make a slightly different size B. So click, click, bigger one, bigger one, bigger one, smaller one. Okay, so that randomizes that. And if you don't like the size of the B, for example, you can click off the screen and it will do another random one. So you can just click off the document and then that's good. Okay, so that's not what I want completely. I want to rotate them as well. So under here we've got size jitter. This little thing here is called angle jitter, and if I have it a small amount, it will just sort of rotate it slightly, but I just want to rotate it right around 100%. So each time I click, it's going to be a random rotation as well. So let's start a new document, and we're going to do a 10 centimeter square document. So 100 millimeters, I've already typed this in actually, and 300 pixels per inch because that's what you want for print really. So white background will be fine, and I'm going to click this. Now if I just filled this up and made it into a pattern, what you'd get is some sort of white gaps around the outside in between each one. So what I'm going to do is use the offset filter, and I'm going to concentrate on the center lines here, and then I'm going to offset those, and then I'm going to fill in the rest of it, and that will give me a pattern that repeats nicely, and you won't notice so much the gaps in between the patterns. So I'm going to make my brush a bit smaller. I'm pressing the square brackets, open square brackets to make it smaller. I can make it bigger doing the end square brackets, so they're both next to each other. Pick a colour, and let's pick random green. Okay, so I've got my shape dynamics on, so it's going to change the size and the angle is going to change. Okay, so each time I click, it'll do a random click, and I'm going to concentrate on these center bits. Okay, so I'm going to click and click, and that's a bit big. I'm going to shrink it down. Click here. A bit smaller. Click there. I think that'll do for this bit, and I'm going to fill these bits in. in a sec. So if I go to my offset filter, so filter, offset, okay, I'm going to zero this again so you can see what's going on. If I drag my cursor roughly to the middle, it will give me the right dimensions, and it's wrapping around. Okay, so now everything that was in the center is now on the edges, so this line has traveled over to here. And if I just do this, you'll see, so it's gradually moving over to the right, and then as soon as it goes off the right of the screen, it appears on the left. Okay, so I'm going to click OK there, and I'm going to carry on putting my bees in. So click, and just fill this up with bees. Okay, and it's pretty straightforward pattern. Okay, that'll do. So I'm going to define this as a pattern. Define pattern. Okay, and I'm going to call it bees, or green bees actually. Click on OK, and now let's test it out on a new document, see what it looks like. Let's go to my photo, sorry, no, my print presets, and I'm going to pick A4, and it's going to populate this little thing. I can put any size in I want, but because it's print, it's already put 300 pixels per inch in, so that's fine. I could test this out, so I could do edit fill with pattern, but I'm going to go to my overlay layers, and I'm going to fill it with this pattern. Okay, so you can see some sort of repetition because this bee is a bit bigger, so you can see him moving around. The good thing about pattern fill as well is that you can just move your cursor over the screen and get a replacement. And in fact, that bee, because it's so much bigger than that, I can see, you know, but it's pretty good. It's not too bad. I can try different scales to see whether it's going to work, larger or smaller. So if I do 200%, do double the size. Okay, if I do 50%, it's going to do half the size. And yeah, there are some sort of lines that are following, and I guess when I was doing that center line, I could have been a bit more careful about putting things either side. But that's it in essence. How to do a scatter pattern very quickly. You can obviously spend more time on that. Okay, any questions, drop me an email, and if you want to share your examples as well, that would be nice. Okay, thank you.